Hello, Veritas. My name's Daetelus, and I believe that God, as you have defined him, does not exist. You have defined God to be a personal agent responsible for all of creation, who is, among other things, timeless, spaceless, immaterial, and of course, self-existent. Now, before I get to the core of my arguments, I first have to explain my philosophy regarding causation and self-existence. I used to say, every effect has a cause, and every cause is an effect, wherein the term effect was defined as a condition that's true, and the term cause was defined as a condition which must be true in order for another condition to be true. While I still think this phrase holds true for temporal causation, I've come to realize that it doesn't accurately portray my sense of non-temporal causation. I had this realization when one day I asked myself a question. Why is it true that paradoxes are impossible? What is the cause of that condition being true? And the only answer I could come up with was, because it can't be any other way. I then asked myself, well, why is that? And once again, the only answer I could come up with was, because it can't be any other way. Realizing that this line of questioning and answering would simply go around in circles, I was quite unsatisfied. I felt there was something I was missing. And after thinking about it for a while, I finally figured out what it was. You see, when we ask why something is the way it is, we are presupposing that it could have been some other way. So by asking why are paradoxes impossible, I was presupposing that paradoxes could have been possible, which is the same as presupposing they are possible. And that's when I realized that asking why something is the way it is only makes sense if the way something is could have been different in the first place. If, however, something could not have been different, like the fact that paradoxes are impossible, then what we have is something that is self-existent, or to use another term, uncaused. Because remember, I think of a cause as being something which must be true in order for something else to be true. And here I'm saying the fact that paradoxes are impossible is a fact or condition which is true regardless of anything else. It's only if paradoxes were possible that we would need to explain or find the cause to why paradoxes don't ever occur. But if, in fact, something is not possible, to begin with, then there is no cause for that fact to look for. So to give you a more concise statement of what I'm trying to say, I give you the following statement. For every condition that is true, but able to be false, another condition must also be true in order for it to be true. So for example, the outcome of a choice is a condition that's true, but able to be false. Therefore, another condition must also be true in order for it to be true. On the other hand, the fact that paradoxes are impossible is a condition that is true, but not able to be false. Therefore, another condition does not also have to be true in order for it to be true. It's important to note that there's a difference between something that is said to be impossible only because there's no process by which it can be achieved, and something that is said to be impossible because, in addition to there not being a process by which it can be achieved, the actual state of having been achieved is itself impossible. And the way you can recognize when the actual state of having been achieved is itself impossible is by your own inability to comprehend what the effects would be, were it to actually be achieved. The paradox, for example, is something for which the actual state of having been achieved is itself generally regarded to be impossible. And the reason it is generally regarded to be impossible is because no one can comprehend what the effects would be were a paradox to actually happen. So when I say something is self-existent, or can't be any other way, or could not have been different, or unable to be false, what I mean is, I can't comprehend what the effects would be if it weren't existent, if it were another way, if it had been different, or if it were false. And I would expect everyone else to have the same difficulty as well. So self-existence is not the sort of quality that we would ever say might be or could be a property of something. The quality of being self-existent is self-evident. If something is self-existent, like the law of non-contradiction, then it will hardly be disputed. To give a concise definition, self-existence, when used to describe a condition, is the inability of that condition to be false, and is the quality of that condition of being characterized by our inability to comprehend the effects of that condition being false.